Pastor, you minister around the world in all these incredibly massive churches and doing all of this sort of stuff, and then but Joe is telling me you guys at home, like, you're a smaller church, but the impact has become global. And I think that's kind of what God's doing. For us, we're the same, we're a smaller church, but the impact is really global. Would you kind of speak into that? Because I know a lot of churches nowadays, they are smaller places, but really stuff flows from them. What's your thoughts on all this?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, what changed me was I went with my pastor on a trip to India, 1984. It was a life-changing trip. We went there for a month, which was a long time to go anyway. And then there was a riot there, and I was caught in the middle of it. And I captured the whole sense of the need for the harvest.
Wow.
And it changed me just going there. That was October 1984. Then the following year, the beginning of the year, we planted our new church. And I felt that the focus of the church should be equipping laborers for the harvest, because Jesus said, the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. And I made a decision before the Lord that we would make missions a part of what we did. So even though the church was in debt, even though we're struggling to get it going, within a year, we had our first team go out.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And they took the team, they went out, it was just a building project in Tonga. But every year while I was pastoring, we had teams go out into the mission field, sometimes several. And then after a little while, I was invited to go overseas and went to Singapore, and then God gave me favor in Singapore, and I began to return, and the passion for the harvest just grew and grew and grew. Because I saw that sometimes, and it was a Jesus experience in Mark 6, in his hometown there's familiarity and a limiting of what he did.
Wow.
But when he went out to other places, they received him. So beginning of Mark 6, they said, oh, just a carpenter, and they were familiar with him. A spirit of unbelief came around. He could do no mighty work. So Jesus could do no mighty work because of the culture and environment of dishonor and familiarity. But when he went to another place, everyone comes and they all see him as the anointed of God. And so everyone comes, there's all these mighty miracles. So I realized that it's important to leave your home zone and go to where the need is great.
Wow.
And to develop a global vision for your ministry of equipping and taking people to harvest. So although I went out and my major role was equipping the people, we sent teams out. And my son David is now pastoring a church. He took many teams into many different places he went to basically the places I went.
Wow.
And then he would connect with me when I was there. So I would do a Bible school in Malaysia or in Indonesia. He tended to take teams to Indonesia, then connect with me in the Bible school. They got exposed to the ministry of deliverance, the greater anointing. Then they go out and do ministry and go out and work with smaller churches. So everyone had, all of the emerging generation all had mission field experience. So therefore, our region we're in is a small area. We're in a city of 80,000, and the region's got about 120,000. But it's a rural area, so its mentality is very small. So if you stay there, you shrink. You shrink in thinking, you shrink in capacity. But if you go to the mission field, you become awakened to the scale of the harvest, the needs that are there, and it reorients your thinking about where you come from. It helps you have perspective. Otherwise, you're sunk with the demands of a Western culture. It's all about me, my needs, you need to run around me, all that kind of stuff wears pastors out. But if they maintain a missions focus, then even if you're a small church, you can do something. You could, as a pastor, connect with someone going somewhere, go to a mission field, or you could take up some money from your church, help support something happening and go there, but you've got to go there and then make your connections there and then start to do some things. And it doesn't matter if it's a practical project. We would send teams out to do a practical project, maybe do a building, some kind of church building or whatever, and then they all at night time have to share their testimony, have to witness, have to do something. So even if people young, they still did something. And I learned that what we have is so much that we just become fat and lazy and take it all for granted. But if you take what we have and bring it anywhere else, it's like we're rich in the things of God. Wow. So I remember having one youth leader was taking a team, and he was upset with the people that were in the team, felt they were far too immature fathers. And I said, when they go there, you will grow them. It's not just about them going to be the answer to everyone's problems, they're going to grow. So they need the experience where you help them grow and disciple them, because you get exposure you won't ever get at home. And I said, it'll be okay when they're there. There'll be some meltdowns. We had teenagers melted down every time we went to Asia, because the conditions they were put in, they just were beyond what they'd experienced. They melted down. They were overwhelmed by the, everything is different.
Their comfort.
So they're out of the comfort zone. They're now having to lean and depend on one another, work together, and then there's a new culture. The toilets are different, the food is different, the sounds are different, smells are different, life's different, everything's different. And Dave would deliberately take them where they would, we're going to go down and see some snakes. We're going to go down, we're going to eat some monkey food. You're going to go down and we're going to do this. And then we're going here. And then, so it was not just that we could do a lot to help people. It's just we were expanding the capacity and thinking of our own people going there.
Okay.
So what had happens, instead of the church being introverted, it becomes missions oriented. Now, I was part of a movement. 1/3 of all missions activity in a movement of over 100 churches came from our church.
Right. Oh.
We did stuff in Ukraine. We did stuff in Central Europe. We did things in Pacific, we did things in Asia. Our stamp was on country after country after country. And then when we had this happening, then doors would open. Like supernatural doors just opened, because we were oriented to do something.
Wow.
And so you look at our church, so the size of the city, the size of the church, it's small compared to big churches I go to, but its influence far outweighs. The footprint in the world is huge. Millions impacted. Wow. You say, how could you do that? I don't know. It's just God, because I said God will go. And so I personally went every year. As God opened up the doors, I would do, about 10% of my year, I'd go to mainly Asia for equipping. So I made a decision. I won't go unless there's equipping, because fivefold ministry called to equip. So I won't just go to do stuff. I'll go there, we equip people. So just to give you an idea, we started off going to Tonga and then Rarotonga. We had some people in the church from Rarotonga. Why don't we take a team there? Let's go there. So we did that. So next we got teams going there and there. And then I was going up to Indonesia. Why don't we take a team up there? So we got a youth team go up there. Well, they did all kinds of stuff. We had another team go up to the Philippines, and that opened up. And then we set up, we've had a link with the church there because of the Bible school in KL. Next thing you know, we've got a preschool going, got a Bible school going there. And then we went up into some of the students from a Bible school I was going to in KL. They were out in Cambodia, we went up there. Well, they need a Bible school. So we bought ISOM, bought all the gear, funded it all, and next thing you know, they got a gear out, they've got a Bible school going. So it's like you never limit what you can do, but it's all built on connections and relationships. And so the door, like I was just standing, I was at a pastor's conference in Auckland, and I'm one of the speakers, and I come out and there's a black fella there. Now he's so black, he's obviously not from New Zealand. I said, hello there, who are you? I introduced myself. Where are you from? Oh, Uganda. I said, oh, okay, that's great. Well, what brings you here? And he said, well, God spoke to me to come to New Zealand. And he said, so I packed my bags and told everyone I'd open them in New Zealand, and they would stay shut until I got to New Zealand. I said, well, how long did that take? He said, 6 months. He said, they laughed at me, but he said, God had told me. And he said, so I got here. And I said, well, what have you come here for? And he said, well, I'm actually doing a bit of a Bible school development, but he said, God told me he would connect me to a pastor here. And suddenly the Lord spoke to me, that's you. Take him home. So I took him home, heard his story, we blessed him financially, and then I told him I'd bring a team up. We brought a team up, and then we decided it was good ground, and so we brought another team up, did a crusade, then we helped him, we bought land for him, we set up a Bible school, and my wife did that. She went up with a group of old ladies, and they set up a Bible school, bought the ISOM in Ugandan, we bought the video gear, bought a generator, bought the TV, and then there it is. We trained them how to use it. Now they've got a Bible school. Now, out of that man, over 300 churches are planted.
Wow.
So it's like, the problem is people they overlook the simple. All it was being friendly to a gardener. Wow. And then hearing a story and feeling that God was on this to do something. So we just went up there. So we had lumber teams go up there, and we financed the Bible school. And we just recently replaced all the equipment and gear, and we've helped him build a church and helped him build a house and just helped his family through school and helped them with a well. And yeah, you do stuff you do. Yes, it's in your heart to do it. You do it. So he's a son, pleading with me to come back so all these folk who don't know me yet because the church is growing can meet me. And so, well, that's just one. Then I had Anwar Fazal from Pakistan ring me. He'd see me at City Harbour speaking on TV. He said, could you come? I said, no, I'm busy all year, but I can send my son. So I said, Dave, would you go to Pakistan? Yeah, I'll go. A lot of people, they won't say yes, they're just too busy. And I said, you do know it's dangerous. He said, yeah. So he brought a whole team of young adults. Well, of course, you don't know whether they'll all be killed or not, but that's just part of it. No, you don't take risks, silly risks, but you do have to be aware that going to places some risks that are not happening at home. So he took team up there. It was great. Then he came back and he said, he took team up there, and then he came back and he said, he's got a regional TV, like cable TV. If we could finance a satellite TV, he could reach all of Pakistan right through the Middle East. So why don't we do it? So we took up a big offering, and we had enough to finance all the TV and finance him and his wife to go up as missionaries there to make it all happen. So they did.
Wow.
So now he's touching millions of people. They got more than 2,000 calls a day from people who got saved.
Beautiful.
And I'm thinking, how come out of all the churches in the world, we're the ones doing this? Why did God give us that opportunity? Because you would say yes. Because missions is in the heart. The missions is in the spirit to help. So we did that. And so the Uganda thing has grown. All that work up there in Pakistan has grown. We're doing stuff to help in Ethiopia now, similar kind of deal. But it's like you just have to have it in your heart that God's heart is for the world, and you don't have to be big to do something.
So good.
And you just got to do something.
Yeah.
And so once you start doing things, then you make connections, and then opportunities open, and then you grow the connections and things happen. So we've probably touched millions of people. I don't know who they all are, but all I know is when God said to do something, we did it.
Wow.
And for people, it become a big thing to come to our church. It's like a thing in the church, go on a mission. So, another one that happened. You're going to love this one. This is just as equally as, I had one pastor, and he when we bought a building, we had to renovate it. I gave him full responsibility. We'll come up with a plan together, you build it, and just leave me to run the church. And just keep it so we're not running out of money. Now he did it. He built the whole church, got all that. Now I thought I need to reward him. So I prayed, said, Lord, what should I pray for him and his wife to have a cruise or something like that? That'd be nice to do that. The Lord said, no, send him on a missions trip.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
And at that time, the iron wall had broken down. The Soviet Union had started to break up, and Ukraine opened up. And so a movement we were part of was sending a team up to Ukraine. So I said, would you like to go to Ukraine? Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. He said, great, we'll pay for it. He went up there. So he's just part of a team, not a preacher, just part of a team. And he's there praying for people and whatever. And then a group of young people come up to him and said to him, we see you, there's something different about you. You seem to just have a real heart for people. Could you come to our small group? And he, being very missions oriented, of course. So he leaps on a train, and he goes on a train in a foreign country, 200 kilometres somewhere, all these kilometres, whatever it was, a couple of hours, to a small group of 20 people in a room. And he preached to them, prophesied over everyone, prophesied them into roles in the church. And then they said, would you come back? And he said, I will. So he said, look, it went so well, I'd like to go back. I said, great, let's do it. So we financed him to go back. And he went back to part of a team, but also to go to them. Now, by the time he got back to them, now there's 200 of them. It's a church. And the guy he prophesied would be the pastor is now the pastor. And the pastor is pastoring the church. And the pastor, you can't believe this, has got the same surname as he has, like spiritual son.
Wow.
And so we we passed it. So anyway, I said, well, we won't worry about going with the other group. We'll just go up, send you up again. So we sent him up again. He'd go up for 3 months, took all our Bible school stuff and set up a Bible school there. Then the church grew to 3,000. Then it became a church planting church.
Wow.
And then it became involved in sending people up to Israel. So he went up to Israel, got 3 house churches planted up there.
Awesome.
Why would you not be involved in global missions?
Yeah. I think, you know,
It's still the comfort thing.
yeah. In the Bible, you see the Jerusalem church, which is a big, but they weren't so mission minded.
No.
And then you have the Antioch church, which
Shifted
had
to Antioch,
influence.
which became that way. Yeah, yeah.
And you mentioned something to me, I think it was last year. You said, you know, because we're frustrated sometimes that growth, and every pastor wants to grow. We're not where we're at. But you said, you know, maybe you're where you're at so you can do all these global things that you're doing. And so that's the kingdom influence. You may not have a mega church. Your church isn't a mega church. It's a big church for your population.
Yeah.
But you're preaching and globally impacting. But if you had a mega church, you might not be able to
Well,
do
that's
that.
exactly what I felt. That's why
Yeah.
I never shifted. People said, why don't you go to a big city and build there? And I felt the Lord, I said, no, the Lord hasn't called me. I said, where I am, I can do what I'm doing. So if I go to a big city and have a bigger church, I won't be able to do all these things. I said, I'd rather stay doing what we're doing. I'd rather be where God planted us because you're free to do it. Now you see you're opening up Brazil and all these other, it'll just keep growing for you. And so people all look for size, but it's influence.
So good. Kingdom is influence.
You've got to think about influence, not necessarily the size. Size has with it a lot of problems and big problems. But if you have a church which is strong and well built, and built into the hearts of people a passion for mission and evangelism, then there's unlimited what you could do. And so we had sometimes three, 4 teams going out a year. We had so many people going out. To come to the thing that people wanted to be on a mission. They would come to the church to be part of a mission.
Holidays, missions.
People want to go out and do something. And I sent them out. They weren't necessarily the maturest people in the church, but it didn't matter. They had an adventure with God and did something for God and got to pray for people that they would never pray for before. It's like they all come back excited. Their life was changed. They got a story. Some would fall over when they came back because the shock of coming back was about as big as the shock of going over there. We would find that with Yomi. So we realized then you actually have to have a re-assimilation plan for them when they come back because they can't handle the shift to a culture that's apathetic and lukewarm and indifferent and hasn't got that passion. So some people we would find, maybe young adult area to young in 20s, would just find the clash of culture coming back the big issue. Others, there was the one going over there. Yeah, there's always tears and meltdowns, but yet that's part of the adventure. Yeah. We never lost anyone. Huh? That's got to be a good thing.
No one died.
Some got lost, but we never lost anyone.
We found them in the end.
Yeah, they got home in the end. They always got home in the end. They just do dramas, and then there are always dramas on travel and passports and.
Yeah.
Well, the mums, ladies that all went to Uganda, and then they all have white hair and the dirt roads, and he's stained there.
Oh,
Yeah, red. Yeah,
They all
but
had like red.
they had they were driving down, and the windscreen wiper was broken. Then they had a shattered windscreen, and so all the red dust off the road came in. So all these grannies are over there, and they've all got red dust all over their hair. Yeah, but the interesting thing,
red hair.
they were all in their 60s when they did this, and there's no one has lived to 60 over there. So they're like, who are these ancient people? This is impossible. But they all had a wonderful time, talked like crazy, went everywhere. And so we set up an orphan program and a small business program, and
Oh my gosh.
but they all come back with stories. It's It's like for some, this is the highlight of their life. Is the mission trip they did, and
Bonding together.
they bond together.
They have never gone.
Yeah, they would never have gone if you didn't facilitate it happening. So if the local church could get the passion for it, and then make it happen, then there's people want to go. And here's what I found. No money in the church, you've reached all your max. But if you have missions, more money appears.
They find it.
They find money for missions. There's money reserved for missions. And it doesn't matter if there's no money. Everyone says, if there's missions, there'll be money. There always is.
Amazing.
And so he's got to do that. So I like a friend, also a disciple, Shelley, who I met up in Mongolia. I went to Mongolia. And I'm on the little horseback out in the wild, out of the wilds, met up with her and just discipled her. She's carrying the whole deliverance anointing and everything. But she got put in as a missions pastor in Awaken in San Diego. Well, they went from very few people to, I think she had about 400 people went on missions.
Wow.
Because it needs someone to make the connection, set it all up, and inspire people to do it. And when people did it, they loved it and it grew them.
Wow.
And so you've got them, so before they go, they've got to save money. So that's the first thing is, you got to get their finances in order and start to deal with the whole issue of saving and working and believing God. And then they need to pray. So now we've got them all building their prayer life. Now you've got to learn to share your testimony. I've got the next thing's your testimony. And so if you try and run a class, you can't get them to do all that. But if you've got an outcome, then they all do it. Because you're not going if you don't do it.
Wow.
And they want to go. So it's kind of the motivation to change is there.
Wow.
Then we have to teach them how to pray for people. And of course, deliverance happens. Well, I've learned you don't have to know everything about deliverance. If I carry a mantle, everyone under me can flow in deliverance. It's like they've just got to be there and aligned and it'll all happen. They don't have to worry. So even my youngest daughter at 9 was casting demons out of people in Indonesia.
That's
She said, Dad, it works. I heard this lady yell out in a man's voice, I want to kill you. She was so excited that the demons came out. Which is said, as they returned and they were rejoicing because even demons are subject to us in your name. Wow. It's like there's a joy in missions.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
There is something about missions that is joyful. Now, we had people go to China. Oh, my Lord. God, we sent people out. They only had one group arrested. Only one. And I said, well, you could get arrested. You need to know that. We'll give you a heads up. You could be arrested, but it'll probably just deport you and then stop you coming back in again. Yeah. So that's the worst that'll happen. They're not, they hurt you too much. But we had teams would carry Bibles in. So one of our missions thing was Bible carrying. So they did Bible carrying, cross-border Bible carrying for years. I had one couple, they did it for years and years. And they just organised a team every year. People wanted to do Bibles. And the most unusual people that you would never think would do anything wanted to do Bibles. For them, the thought of smuggling Bibles across a border was like, this is the highlight of their lifetime. Love it. And they would learn to pray that everything, eyes would be shut, no one would see them. They carry these Bibles across and there's secret meetings and handing the Bibles. Oh, it's all glorious.
Secret agents.
Yeah, well, it's like that. And so there's the adventure aspect of it. And we had people that would be perhaps awkward and difficult and not really function well in the church. No, they all go out there and do that kind of stuff. Loved it. They had one team went up there. They were 3 weeks with the secret police chasing them. They never caught them because they would now because of all of the technology that's there. But they were able to pray and listen to the Holy Spirit and get on and off buses and change their plans and whatever, and never got caught. And they come back with stories of angelic encounters and God connections and things happening. It's like, why would you not do that? Why would a church not do what Jesus said? It's just everyone gets so introverted on their own little mission field rather than say, hey, this is where we establish the house, but from the house will go people to nations. Wow. So our goal is to open the doors for nations. So you see, people, if I go out, people want me to come as a fivefold ministry equipper. So if I bring people, then it's just not going to work the best. So the best way to do it was that Dave took the young ones out, came and connected with me in the Bible school and did Bible school ministry there, praying for people to get delivered, sing the big meetings. Then they all go out and do some stuff in the region somewhere. And they get little areas and gatherings and share their testimonies and preach and pray, and demons would come out and they would take them out to eat snakes and dogs and various things and to try all the stuff. And they all come back. It's a big adventure. So I hope that answers it.
That's amazing. Wow.
But, I'm trying to inspire anyone listening.
Yeah.
Don't think because your church is small that you're not going to do global missions. You determine you'll do it and then you'll find a way. Yeah. But you've got to get over this mentality. There's so many needs here. The needs in the local church are so demanding. They literally drain everything out of you and don't necessarily produce great fruit. And you will find when you go to the mission field and you take a team, everyone grows, everyone expands their vision, the whole church starts to change in its dynamic. So you want to do it. And if you don't know where to go with someone else who's going, and pray for God to give you divine connections and be aware of them when they come and follow them up. And divine connections mean you'll be financing and helping to some degree, but you measure it and you're careful, and then you go and bring your team out there to do stuff.
Amazing.
Great.